Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marie Antoinette and I am so glad that you decided to grace this page with your presence. Thank you guys for coming. Today it's gonna be a little bit of a story time. Yeah. It's ratchet. It's just ridiculous. I'm going to tell you about the time that I had a customer try to fight me. Now, granted, actually no, can't even say that. The customer's just outright wrong. You know what I learned about customer service? I'm just going a quick little tangent before I go into the story time. It usually be the dumbest people who be the most ridiculous and rude. I'm sorry if it offends you. If the shoe fit, wears. Honestly, that's just how I feel. But oh my Lord. Now don't get me wrong. There were some customers who were upset for good reason. They have legitimate reasons on why they should be upset. Okay. But dude, this customer was just off the hook. So, back in 2015, 2016, I used to be a supervisor for, I'm gonna just tell you who it was. It was for Ripley's Believe It or Not, okay? Now, they've been in Baltimore for when I first started, a few months. They were new to Baltimore, right? And shortly after I got into Ripley's Believe It or Not, I ended up becoming a supervisor. So yay me, moving up the ladder and stuff like that. It was cool. But anyone who knows Ripley's Believe It or Not knows it attracts very interesting people, to say the least. So one day, on a weekend, right, during summer, this Ripley's Believe It or Not had the museum. Sorry, a bird just scared the crap out of me. It had the museum. They had a mirror maze, and then they had a 4D theater, and then they had a wax hand station, right? So you could buy tickets downstairs in the front entrance, or you can buy tickets upstairs. Doesn't really matter. You can do either one. Eventually, they kind of start putting a stop on that because you would have one cash register to ring people up for wax hands and another one for tickets. It was the most ridiculous. I digress. Anyways, so I was the only supervisor there in the building, right? So if anything went wrong, I was the one that was being called. On a weekend, during one of the busiest days, a Saturday. Friday, you pick up some stuff. You know, you might pick up a crowd, maybe. After a certain point in time, you will, but then it starts to slow down because people gotta go to work the next day or whatever the case may be. You know, you might pick up a crowd. Sunday, you'll pick up a big crowd, but it eventually kind of slows down as the day progresses. Saturday, from the moment you get there and you open, from the moment you close, is bumping. Like, ridiculous. Of course, I work on a Saturday. So I go and I'm dealing with ticket malfunctions and helping people at different parts of the museum, answering questions, phone calls, whatever, right? Getting the employees that's coming in for mid-shift, getting their cash registers ready so they can go and switch off of their shift and everyone take their lunch and stuff. You know, typical supervisor stuff. All of a sudden, one of my employees come rushing up to me. Marie, I need to tell you something. And I'm like, okay, so what's going on? She's like, this lady is sitting here lying about her daughter's age, right? Now, with Ripley's, I'm probably, if I remember correctly, if you were under the age of 3, you got it for free. 4 and older, well, 3 and younger, free. 4 and older, you had to pay for child prices, right? Granted, these tickets are not cheap. I'm not even gonna lie to you. They were almost like $30 a ticket for basicness, but whatever. The reason why my employee came running up to me was because the lady was right behind her cussing her out, because she basically said, how dare you say my child is not 3 years old? If you looked at this child was about 6 years old, 7. It was a big child, like tall. There's no way this 3-year-old just turned 3, so she was 2, is sitting up to my hip. Like, no, the child was obviously not 2 years old. Now, granted, even though technically I probably should have turned them away because the parent was lying, I decided to, be nice, right? I was going to figure out the situation, try to talk the parent down. But I'm not going to punish a child after they've already been promised they was going to do something, even though you lied about it. But I'm not going to punish a child for it. The child was about 6 or 7 years old, and they're in the midst of adults arguing with each other because you lied about your age, or your mama's getting in trouble. It was a whole bunch of extraness, and I'm like, I'm not going to put this child through that. That's traumatizing for a 6 or 7 year old to sit there and watch. Like, I'm not going to further traumatize a child, but I at least need to understand what's going on, because I wanted to go and send an email out to my store manager in case she was like, okay, so what happened? How did you handle the situation? Blah, blah, blah. Because some people are petty, and you'll be nice to them, try to help them out, and they'll still report you. So I'm like, at least let me figure out what's going on, right? I'm like, so what's going on? She told me that my child is not 3 years old. My child just turned 3, and she needs to get in for free. Okay. I'm like, how old is your child? 3. I'm like, ma'am, no disrespect. Your child did not look 3. I didn't say that, but I was thinking. So I said to the woman, I'm trying to remember how this went. So basically, I said to her, is your child 3? I just asked her, is your child 3 years old? Right? Like, I'm looking at her like, lady, please keep it a buck with me. If you were honest with me, like, I ain't say this to her, but I'm thinking, like, lady, if you're honest with me, I don't care what you do. I got enough stuff to deal with. But at least keep it 100. Like, just be honest. Like, all right, yeah, my child like 6 years old, but they really wanted to come in. I was strapped for cash. So, I told a little lie. I'm like, all right, bad, don't do that again. But go ahead. All right, whatever. But no, she wanted to create a scene. I was like, ma'am, hold up. I'm going to ask you, is your child 3 years old? What do you mean is my child 3 years old? Are you trying to say my child is fat? Huh? Okay, look, Karen, I ain't got time for this. I just asked you a simple question. How did you get the fact that I asked you, is your child 3 years old, to me saying that your child is fat? I'm trying to understand the correlation here. I don't get it, but whatever. I'm like, ma'am, no. You ever like have someone say something to you that completely baffles you, that it's hard for you to respond? Like, it's just like, I'm not really sure how we got here, but I'm gonna try to steer us back to the point of this conversation. Like, it was just, y'all, It made no sense. So I'm like, ma'am, no. I'm not commenting on your child's weight. I'm talking about their age. If anything, I can understand she would have been like, you trying to say my child looks old? Then okay, but fat, that still boggles my mind. But I'm like, okay, whatever. So then I'm like, no, ma'am. I'm not saying your child is fat. I'm not talking about the child's weight at all. I'm talking about your child's age. That's why I'm asking you, is the child 3 years old? Because we're not allowed to have children, to give out free tickets to children under the age of, over the age of 3. So 4 and older, you have to pay. That's why my employee is basically questioning the age of your child, right? She's going off. Well, my child is 3 years old, and I'm not understanding what the big deal is. Why would I don't have to lie about the age of my child? And then this is when things start to go left. Then she decides to say to my employee, who's a young black girl, right? Not disrespectful or anything like that. She is Baltimore. I'm from Baltimore. I'm sorry, Baltimore. She's straight up Baltimore, but she's respectful. If she ain't got to bring the hood out of her, she ain't going to. So she's a really good girl. So the lady turns around and looks at her and looks at me. And it was like, I'm sorry, but I'm just appalled by her actions, because where I'm from, we don't act ghetto like this. We're not from the hood. So this ghetto behavior, excuse you? Like, y'all, this was triggering to me because I'm a young black girl. Well, still am. But at the time, I was even a younger black girl from the hood of Baltimore City, because I'm from Baltimore. So I'm like, if you're talking about her and judging her for what you think her background is, you're talking about me too. Lady, I'm trying not to snatch you through these Ripley's Believe It or Not streets. Like, I'm trying, but whatever, right? So at this point, I see my employee going off in her head. I see it on her face, right? I go ahead, I put my arm out, I scoop her behind me because I'm bigger than her, right? So I'm like, if she tries to swing on her, she gotta get over me. And she's a short little skinny little thing. So the lady, honestly, she was starting to get a little aggressive. I don't want her to try to swing on my employee either, because I'm responsible for this girl and her well-being. I don't want her getting attacked by a customer. So I kind of brought her behind me. I'm like, look, just stand behind me. My employee at the time is going off, no, because she lying. And I'm like, look, you chill out. I'm trying to handle this. Chill out, right? Then one of my other employees is saying, hey, Marie, there's someone on the phone who has a question about tickets. Y'all, whatever you have a question about, I'm sure you can find it online. Please do not call shopping on the phone when we got other bigger fish to fry. Do not call about what time the store opens and closes. Don't call to figure out what the price of something is. Just figure it out online. You want to know why? Because it's a possibility that the person you got on the phone is about to get attacked by another customer, and they got to be able to watch their back, like me. The reason why I say that is because that's what actually was starting to happen. The lady decides she's going to get irate, and she got pissed off. She started calling people names and stuff. At that point, I got done with trying to talk to her and calm her down and try to rectify the situation that she caused because she lied. And I was like, now you starting to call people names. You starting to make, racial slurs. We do not take that. We take that seriously. We don't do that here. So I'm going to ask you to leave. And I asked her to leave because you're not going to go making racial comments, talking about people upbringing, and they look dirty and ghetto, and she was going off. Mind you, Baltimore is predominantly black, so that meant I worked in a business that was predominantly black. So you're talking about a building full of predominantly black people. You're being, and I'm black, like, lady, I might not always look it, but I'm black. Are you for real? So I'm like, okay. I told her she had to go. That pissed her off even more. I picked up the phone. I started talking to the customer. As I'm on the phone, she's yelling, like she's here, and she's yelling in my face while I'm on the phone, and the customer is hearing her cuss me out. I'm like, Lord, I could reach out to this lady and bless her by slapping the mess out of her face. But I'm not going to do that. I told the customer, hold on. I said, do you mind, sir, please give me 1 second. I have a customer that's irate. The customer's like, yeah, I can hear. Okay. All right, I'll hold. This lady is going off. My other employee was like, ma'am, just, give us a minute. It will help you, but just give us a minute. She's like, I'm not talking to you. Okay. So then I'm like, ma'am, please leave. Please leave. Or I'm going to be forced to call the police. Please leave. She has children with her. I don't want to call the police to have her escorted. And she got little babies with her who looked scared as ever. Them kids looked terrified. And I felt bad for the children because I'm like, they're stuck here with this crazy woman. And all they want to do is to have a good time and play in some mirror mazes and jungle gyms and stuff. They ain't come here for this. And I'm trying not to participate in the trauma they're experiencing right now. But Lord, then the father or the whoever this guy was with him. He's trying to calm her down. She's pissed off. So at this point, I'm like, ma'am, you need to step off the property. I'm like, I'm going to focus on the man that was with her. Because I don't want to participate in the trauma that these children are experiencing right now. I want to turn this around for them. Even though their mama lied, I'm like, I want to turn this around for them. I'm like, sir, she has to leave the premises. But I don't want to punish the children for her behavior. So I will let you go with the children through the mirror maze. But that's as much as I can give you. Like, I can't do anything else. You didn't get the tickets for it. Because that was also another issue for her. She wanted all the attractions within the museum, but only paid for one. I'm like, look, I'll go ahead and I'll allow the children to go through the mirror maze and you go with them, but she got to leave. She has to leave. So that's when he said, I'm really sorry. I'm trying like to calm this situation down. I'm really sorry. He was like, I don't know what's wrong with her. This is not how, we usually conduct business. I'm really sorry. I said, it's okay. The only reason why I'm being this nice is because there's children involved. And I have a soft spot for children. I'm like, I don't want to punish these kids. Y'all can just go ahead. The lady, and I didn't see her, right? She's still going off though. She's still cussing and fussing and all that. She refuses to leave. I'm at the point where I'm about to go in the back in the office and call the police on her. Because I got tired of her, right? The children were out the way. So I'm about to call the police on her. I turn around and I say to one of my employees, she's not allowed to go through any of the attractions. She's about to be escorted out. They're like, okay, cool. Mind you, there's people downstairs calling me because they needed refunds. So I go to walk back to the office. She's behind me. She walking up on me full steam ahead. Didn't know it, right? Now, I should know better, because being raised up in the hood, one of the first things you're taught is you beefing with somebody, you never turn your back on them. I guess I thought I was safe because I was at work, but and there's cameras and stuff. But no. The only reason why this lady couldn't get close to me is because one of my employees jumped in front of her and wouldn't let her get to me. So she noticed the lady walking up on me and jumps in front of the lady, and they get into an argument. So at this time, I didn't know this lady was trying to swing on me. Or not trying to swing on me. Well, she was going to attempt to walk up on me to do Lord knows what, I shall say. And then those two get into it. And I turn my back to face them again. The lady taking off, right? Because the kids finally came out. So the kids came out behind me when I turned around to face her, and they left. She noticed the kids, she took off. As she's taking off with the kids, then she starts hollering, F you N words, and blah, 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 and y'all ain't, and go back to slavery. Excuse you? At that point in time is when she knew she effed up. Because shortly afterwards, an employee or two just went for her. I'm like, I didn't chase after them. I didn't try to prevent them from beating the lady up. You're dumb. Like, you wanted this conflict. Like, you just woke up and just decided ignorance. Like, when she came back, I talked to her. I explained to her how, her behavior was inappropriate. And she can't go trying to fight people. Did I suspend her? No. Did I write her up? No. And here's why. Anybody else probably would have, but here's why I didn't. This employee of mine has never caused an issue. She was one of the top employees that I've had, right? Always on time, never caused any issues, always available for the customers, never have to talk to her. She was reliable. I could depend on her to pretty much anything. Like, she was a star employee. So for her to act like this, I knew. I just understood. And when you're as young as this girl was, and you don't really have an understanding of the world, or you know about racism, but you never experienced it, and you deal with those triggers and stuff like that, your emotions are all over the place. And the first thing you do is whatever you feel like instinctually you should be doing, which is beating the hell out of this lady. Granted, she didn't catch her because the lady ended up running. Worked. Lord Jesus. The lady ended up running. But yeah, she didn't end up catching her. And then she came back. And I had to talk to her because as a supervisor, a person in charge, as an authoritative figure, I have to be that person to be like, no, don't do it. Even though low key, I'm like, I understand though. And did you catch her? Like, but I didn't ask and I didn't say that, but I had to be the person. So yeah, and that's the story of how a customer tried to fight me. For the people in customer service, who were waiters and waitresses, cashiers, or any type of attendant of any type of commerce business, a brick and mortar business, just know I feel for you. But understand that this job you're in right now it is going to be so important to your development as a person. You don't get it right now. You don't. And right now, it's okay for you not to get it, because you have to learn it in order to get it. But it's imperative to your development. It's so important for your character building, and you're going to look back on it when you're older and you've evolved into your career, and you're going to be thankful for the experiences you've had in customer service, and you're going to understand why you needed to go through what you went through with customer service. And on top of that, you're going to learn a little thing called empathy and sympathy. You're going to need both. For the people that you're going to interact when you evolve in your career, who's going to be in a position that you once were in, you're going to treat them better, and you're going to understand what they're going through, and you're going to be nice to them, and you're going to be more respectful, and you're not going to tolerate that from other people within your circle when you go out and about and you're dealing with people within the customer service field, because you was once that person. All right, and on that note, thank you for coming to my page. Till next time, guys. Peace.